Alright, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. I moved the microphone into a different spot. Hopefully it picks up a little less wind noise. And hopefully it doesn't pick up a bunch of my breathing either. Hopefully the camera angle's good too. I'm just taking the bike on a little ride. Gonna jump on the highway and go to the bank. Recently I had a couple subscribers ask me main difference between map 1 and map 2 on the Powertronics unit. So I've got the bike in map 1 right now. I'm going to see if we can get the differences kind of flattened out for everybody. Yeah, don't you do it. Finally got a break in the rain, so I've got an opportunity to get out here and get a video in, get a ride in, finally enjoy my bike. Had to go into work yesterday to take care of some stuff, and I wasn't able to ride in. It poured the entire day, and I mean, it poured hard. My backyard is flooded, or at least it was as of yesterday. So finally we got a break in the rain, and I'm pretty sure the next week coming up is supposed to be pretty clear too, but I got nowhere to go thanks to this lockdown anyways, so won't get much riding in. So what I can tell you off the bat about map 1 on the Powertronic ECU is I think the only thing they really took care of with this map is the fueling. The fueling is a lot smoother. The bike is less jerky down low. A lot of people who have these bikes can tell you that if you're below like 4,000, maybe even 5,000 RPM, just trying to put through a parking lot or something like that, it's jerky. The throttle just feels like it's an on and off switch. The Powertronics unit levels that out, and there's other cheaper units out there like a booster plug or the Rapid Bike Easy that take care of these things too for much cheaper. But as far as full-blown ECUs go, the Powertronics basically your cheapest bet. I got this thing for like 285 bucks on sale with the map switch. Yeah, the bike just doesn't feel quite as powerful in map 1. It does feel plenty smooth, and I think map 1 on a stock bike you're going to feel happy. Mostly happy with the fact that your bike just runs so much more smoothly than it did. And you're really going to notice that in the lower speeds. And one other annoying thing that comes from the air-fuel ratio being lean from the factory is every once in a while with these bikes, you'll notice if you stop at a red light or whatever and you kind of blip the throttle a little bit, sometimes they tend to stall out. It'll just cut out for no reason. Sometimes it happens when you're doing like little downshifts and you're coming to a stop too and you're rev matching and blipping the throttle, you'll get cut out all of a sudden. Fortunately for me, it's only ever happened when I'm sitting still, but it seems to always happen when I'm getting ready to take off, so it kind of sucks because the bike can take a minute to start back up. This gets rid of that. I have not had that issue since I put the Powertronic ECU on. Not one stall out. And I've sat there and tested it by blipping the throttle at a light and in the driveway and so on and so forth, and it has not stalled out one more time. That stall out issue happened to me at least 3 or 4 times in the the first month of the ownership that I've had the bike. And ever since I put this ECU on, nothing. So that lean idle condition, it's annoying in many ways. So getting a fuel controller like the Powertronic ECU solves that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip into map 2 because I already know for myself that this thing has a little more pep in map 2. You can feel it. It's not gonna blow you away. I mean, this is not a powerful bike from the get-go. It's like a 42, 43 horsepower bike stock. You're adding maybe another 3, possibly 4 horsepower with some basic bolt-on mods and a Powertronic ECU. You'll be lucky to get 5 horsepower to the wheel. But there is a noticeable amount of pep when you're in Map 2. So much so that before I put this 16.2 sprocket on here, it was lifting the front wheel from a first gear roll without a problem. Got a guy on a stunt bike to my right. Sounds like a 600. It was definitely an inline 4. I haven't tried a first gear roll on wide open throttle to see if the front wheel will still lift up on me or not. Should have got that guy's wheelie on camera. I'm going to go over the 16.2 sprocket a little more once we get on the highway. I'll tell you what, right now I'm doing about 57 miles per hour, and in 5th gear I'm at like 6,200 RPM, and if I go into 6th it just feels like I'm in way much of a higher gear, you know, than it was before. I'm at like 5,600 RPM in 6th gear. It just feels unnatural for this bike. It wants to be up there closer to 6,000, a little over, when you're cruising to feel comfortable. So it definitely is doing its job by lengthening those gears out. I wanted that. It's less shifting, the better for me. I don't feel like I'm being rushed to get into the next gear. Now, the stock gearing is perfectly fine. I mean, it'll do highway, it'll do in town, and it does everything just fine. And that's what stock gearing is for. It's meant to be all around, you know, I'll do whatever you want. But for me, I ride like 90% on the highway because I use this bike mostly just to go to work on, save gas, keep myself out of the car and enjoy myself. Plus it takes a bunch of time off my commute by being able to lane split, because there's a ton of traffic out here, and I don't really need like a bunch of inner city torque to make myself happy. Like I'm doing 52 miles per hour in 4th gear. I'm at like 65, 6,600 RPM and it feels great. I don't feel like I need to be in 5th. So I was doing like 73 miles per hour at the top of 4th gear, which is much more than it was before. Right now, doing 70 miles per hour, and I am at almost exactly 6,800 RPM, whereas before it would be about 7,100 to 7,200 RPM. So it feels much less manicky. I don't know how to put it. It just doesn't seem like I'm stressing the bike out as much as I was before. I'm going to take it up to 80 miles per hour, because that's where it used to sit at about 8,000 RPM. And to me, sitting at 8,000 RPM at 80 miles per hour for, you know, 20 plus miles at a time, for me, it just feels like too much for a little bike like this. I don't want to hold it up there that long. So 80 miles per hour, I am at about 7,700 RPM. That's perfect. The bike, oh my, it feels so much happier at 80 miles per hour, which if you're not doing 80 miles per hour out here on the SoCal highways, like 15 right here, you're not going to have a good time. I'm almost going to miss my exit because I'm talking. But yeah, that feels superb. Like, that feels exactly where I want it to be. Like about 300 to 400 RPM under 8,000 RPM. It just feels like the motor is much happier when I'm maintaining that type of constant speed. That's all I really wanted. I feel like for having a pandemic, there's a lot more people on the road than there probably should be. I mean, you know, boo on me for being out here too, whatever, but I'm just saying, it seems like there's a lot more people out here than should be. I don't know where everybody's going. It's a Saturday, so I know they're not all going to work and they're not all mission essential. And the bike sounds freaking great with that CAD delete on it. You get just a tiny bit of burbles and stuff on the decel. Gotta find the turn for this bank. I can't remember which one it is, if it's this next one up here or if it's the one after. I think it's this one. Yeah. Follow this guy in here. There she is. I just need to use the walk-up ATM. I think the front brake pad on this thing is a little glazed over. I'm not sure if the previous owner may have done a lot of light braking or very long braking periods, like where you're just on the brake too much. And what can happen is the pads get hot and they glaze over. Everybody's got masks on. They're all in their car. I don't think people understand you don't have to have your mask on in your car. You only really have to have a mask on when you can't keep a distance of, 6 feet between people. I don't really want to put too much of my thoughts into this whole coronavirus thing, but those of y'all that don't know, I work medical for the military. It's what I do. I'm not a doctor, I'm a hospital corpsman, and we treated a lot of flu-like symptom patients before the whole lockdown and everything got really serious. So, for all I know, I've been exposed already, and I haven't been sick. I haven't gotten sick. I don't want to get sick. So I do practice, the measures and what they're cautioning to the best of my ability, but I don't go overboard. I think the dumbest thing that people are doing right now is wearing gloves. Like, it's not going to do anything for you. Every time you touch something, your gloves are contaminated. So, unless you're going to take your gloves off and change them out for a new pair every single time you touch something, there's just no point. I know hand sanitizer's hard to come by right now, but that's your best option. And then every time you touch something, just put a little light dose of hand sanitizer on your hands and move on. But gloves, completely useless, in my opinion. Unless you're touching something that you know is infected, or a person, like you're treating a person that's infected, then I'd definitely wear gloves. But I'd take them off as soon as I leave that patient's room, and what have you. I knew that light cycle was going to skip. On the way home, I'm going to take a different road. It's a little more twisty. It's kind of uphill though, but it's off the highway, and I really enjoy it. Actually, shit, I don't know if I've gone far enough down to get to that road. I guess we'll find out once I get back on the highway. You know what? I don't think I've gone down far enough to get to it, so never mind. Scratch that. I'm taking the same road back. So just to sum up, you know, my thoughts about the Powertronic unit and the stock maps that come with it. Map 1, very close to stock. The improvements are really in the fueling. How the bike runs as a whole, just a ton smoother. And then map 2 is really when you want that extra bit of power. And be prepared not to be completely blown away. I mean, you're not putting a friggin' turbo or a nitrous kit on this thing, but you will notice a substantial amount of torque, and that the bike seems to pick up speed a lot quicker. In my opinion, just the fueling fixes alone are worth it, and grabbing a Powertronic ECU or something similar that has the ability to be taken to a shop and have your bike thrown on a dyno and have it dyno tuned is much more beneficial than something like the booster plug or the Rapid Bike Easy, which are only designed to do one thing, and that's trick your bike into richening the fuel mixture by telling it something different. And that's it. It doesn't adjust to mods. It can't be tuned for exactly whatever it is you want to do. So, if you're going to leave the bike completely stock, and you plan on taking it in for warranty work, or you don't even do your own maintenance, something like the booster plug or the Rapid Bike Easy is your better option, because they can be taken off in a matter of like a minute. They're literally just one plug and you're done. Whereas this, you got to map the entire harness, which I've done a video on. It's not that bad. I could probably take this thing off and reinstall it in under 40 minutes, now that I know exactly what I'm doing. But having the convenience of the booster plug or the Rapid Bike Easy to be able to take these things off in a matter of, you know, a minute, and then take the bike in for warranty work or get your oil changed or whatever it is, it leaves no trace whatsoever that you've done anything. I mean, neither does the Powertronic ECU. It doesn't leave a trace that you've touched anything. But it's just much quicker to take those other ones off. But in the long run, if you're somebody like me, I mean, I'm going to be riding this bike about 1,000 miles per month once we get back to normal. That's usually my average, is about 900 to 1,000 miles per month. Because I go 55 miles each day that I go to work, and I go to work at least 5 times a week, and some weekends. So I put miles on my bikes. The bike I had before this was a 2015 Ninja 300, and granted I bought it with 32,000 miles on it, or 31, somewhere around that. I owned the bike for about 7 months, and I was already at 41,000 miles when I sold it, and I only sold it so I could put a deposit down on this bike. I got that bike for super cheap, Didn't make any money off of it, but didn't really lose any either. I didn't have to do any work to it. I put a slip-on exhaust on it from Amazon that was like 50 bucks just for a little sound, and the bike suited me well. Now, the only reason otherwise that I wanted to get rid of it, besides the fact of how much mileage I had on it, was because I wanted a little more power for the highway. And yes, I could have stepped up to something much bigger, but it would have cost me more money. And I wanted to buy this thing outright. I didn't want a loan. These things are super easy to find right now, brand new, left over for like $4,000. I got this one used with 2,000 miles on it for 3,500 bucks. And it already had the Yoshimura exhaust, the axle sliders, and the swing arm sliders. It had the protectors, the lever protectors on the handlebars. It already had the aftermarket adjustable levers as well, and it had the Puig front windscreen right here. So it was already set up for me to go on the highway. It had everything on it that I would have done, basically, you know, the basic mods. If I wanted to do everything that's on this bike over again, it would have cost me, you know, probably $800 or $900 bucks, maybe even $1,000, to do all of it myself. So I saved money by buying it used, and I've still got a warranty until about this time next year. So if anything goes wrong with the motor, I take it to my dealership and they'll put in a warranty reclaim for it. I can do all my oil changes at home. They said just to keep maintain the receipts to prove that I've done my oil changes. That gives them a leg to stand on. So that's what I'm going to do. I already know how to do everything myself, except for like a valve job and internal engine work. I don't want to touch those things for sure. So the only thing I'll really be going back to the dealership for is valve adjustments and getting my tires put on. That's about it. And speaking of tires, shout out to Sean Keenan on the Duke 390 page on Facebook for the United States. Hooked me up with a contact for a guy that races Ninja 400s on the track. And so when they buy their bikes brand new, they take the stock GPR 300 tires off of them. And the guy had quite a few sets left over, so Sean bought some, and then another guy on our page bought some. And then he hooked me up with the guy, and I just bought a set myself, so I'm going to have some replacement tires already sitting on standby. And I got them for a steal, like 125 bucks for a set of GPR 300 tires, front and rear. Brand new, good to go. So once my stock Metzler M5s wear out, I'll already have a brand new set of tires. Yep, I'm happy with the 16 tooth. I don't think the bike is any less enjoyable than it was. It almost makes it feel like a bigger bike, not being able to use 6th gear at, you know, 50 miles per hour. I mean, I can use it, it just feels like I'm lugging the bike at that point because the RPMs are too low. Like right now I'm in 5th, 50 miles per hour, and I'm at 5,500 RPM. Smooth sailing. Even that almost feels like a little bit too low for cruising, so I drop down to 4th. That puts me right about 6,000, just a little bit over. And the bike feels great. Feels like it's in its happy zone. Just cruising along, 4th gear. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the video for the vlog here. I'm almost home anyways. I appreciate all the new subscribers that have subscribed to the channel. It's very encouraging to see you guys subscribe. So when I watch my analytics, there's, I mean, still like 98% of my viewers are non-subscribers. So if you guys, you know, find any of my stuff helpful, you know, hit that subscribe button for me. I got plenty more coming out as the maintenance comes along, and there'll be other things that we can do and get done. I'm gonna go. I mean, I'm gonna go over even the littlest maintenance items, you know, such as doing lubricating and cleaning the chain. I'm going to be doing that one probably tomorrow after I get my new cans of degreaser and chain lube. I had to order them off Amazon because pretty much everywhere is closed, so those will be here tomorrow. I'm going to do a clean and lube on the chain. So like I said, subscribe if you would, leave a like, give me a comment, let me know your thoughts, give me some ideas of what you want to see and I'll do it. I'm all ears. But thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one.